It's time for the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
And thank you. Welcome to Trading Stocks Made Easy. I'm your host, Tyrone Jackson. Thank you for joining me for this very special podcast number 1. You know, Trading Stocks Made Easy is all about helping you demystify the stock market and make monthly residual income with some of the strategies that I'm going to share with you in each and every episode. So once again, I'll try to make it easy and simple for you to understand. That's kind of my hallmark. In fact, when I'm in the media, I get a lot of criticism for making the stock market sound so easy that anybody can do it. Turns out that you actually can. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you now was about some stocks that have done very well over the past 5 years, some case studies so that you can see how the wealthy investor approach, which is actually the name of my program, actually applies to the stock market. And going forward from this day, the big question is, how can you make money? Okay, so what I want to address really in this very first episode is how come the rich get richer, and why is it that the wealthiest people in the stock market always seem to be right at the top of the food chain? Well, as it turns out, it's really no mystery because all wealth is taught. So let's just look at some stocks that did really well over the past 5 years, and this pattern of stocks that are doing really well are going to continue. I'm going to give you some figures here, and I want you to think about a couple of things here. Let's take everybody's favorite stock right now, which is Apple. Did you know that just $1,000 invested in Apple stock today is worth over $3,000? That means that $10,000 worth of Apple stock 5 years ago, you made a one-time investment in Apple stock for $10,000. Today is worth $33,000. And $100,000 is worth over $333,000. Now, those are some really nice, big, juicy numbers, and we'd all like to be able to invest money and have it double or triple in 5 years. But here's the best part. It's really not just Apple. Everybody knows Apple's ticker symbol is AAPL. Let's take a look at another one of my favorite stocks called Home Depot, ticker symbol HD. Now, Home Depot is, it may not be as popular and have the same kind of fame, for example, as Apple, but listen to this. 5 years ago, just $1,000 invested in Home Depot stock is now worth over $3,100 in today's terms. $10,000, of course, is worth $31,000, and $100,000 is worth over $316,000. Let's take another stock that I really like. This is just the 5-year performance. And this company is Visa, right? So if you are a shareholder in Visa, the ticker symbol is V, $1,000, just $1,000 invested 5 years ago is now worth $3,100. $10,000 one-time investment is now worth over $31,000, and $100,000 there again is worth over $310,000. Gang, this keeps happening in the stock market over and over and over and over again when you learn how to choose good stocks. But before we even get to choosing good stocks, right, we have to talk about your wealthy mindset. In other words, I'm going to ask you right now, do you have a millionaire's mindset? Now, what does that mean? Well, right before I get into that, since this is our first show, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me. I was raised in New York City by a single mother who really just struggled. I mean, she struggled every single month to pay the bills. And what was real to her was this concept of, she used to tell me when I was younger, boy, let me tell you, when you get out here and you try to make a living, it's going to be really, really, really difficult. So here's the best thing that I want you to do. I want you to focus on getting a job and try to get a job where you could at least do some overtime. But remember this, when you do overtime, she used to have this saying, when you do overtime at your job, the more you make, the more they take. So what that means is, even though you work really, really hard and you can do some overtime, you're basically going to lose your overtime and taxes. And that was the extent to what I was taught about money. But for whatever reason, and I don't know quite why I'm this way, I just kind of rejected that. And I think a lot of it really had to do with the fact that I've seen a lot of foreigners come to this country and do really, really, really good things. And all of a sudden they had a car, and then they had maybe like a Dunkin' Donuts. And then all of a sudden they had a house, which was like, wow, I grew up in federally subsidized housing. So like to see people progress and have a house and move out was like, how did they do that? Like the mystery was just huge. And I was very, very attracted to money and how it worked. And so I really wanted to learn what I call basically the money game. Now, what's really interesting is when you learn the money game, they don't teach you that in junior high school, college, graduate school. No one's going to say, here's how money multiplies, and here's what you should actually be doing with your money. And I share that because, today I have a life that is the life of my dreams. It all comes from stock market trading and investing. I spend a portion of my month at a house that I built in upstate New York. I won't tell you where because like everybody will show up at my house. And then I spend the other part of my month in a place that I absolutely 100% love, which is Malibu, California, by the beach with all the celebrities and the richest people in the world and all of that. So the question is, how did I go from where I was to where I am now? Well, as it turns out, I have a passion for teaching people and explaining the stock market in a way that people are able to go out and just make money. And one of the things that I tried when I started making money, because my other dream was to be a professional actor, and I had a lot of success in 32 years as a professional actor, and people are always writing me on my Facebook page, aren't you the guy from this movie or that movie? And yes, I am. But I was fortunate enough to be able to make a living as an actor, but the wealth really came from the stock market. So in this podcast, in every single episode, it's all about helping you achieve financial freedom. And I like the concept of residual income. So the question is, how did I get from being raised with this single mother with no financial consciousness, certainly no wealth consciousness, to where I am now? Well, I had to develop something called a millionaire mindset, and I help all my students do that because all wealth is taught. That's really what I've discovered in this whole process. Unless someone actually encourages you to open your mind and to think differently, it's really hard for you to make money in the stock market. So I know a lot of people are like, Tyrone, quickly, just take me to the trades. I want to see how we make money, how we turn that $1,000 into $3,000 and $10,000 into $30,000. Well, what I find, if I don't spend some time talking to you about your mindset and your beliefs about what is possible, then it's really hard to make that money. It's really hard to have wealth manifest in your life because you have some old beliefs that were passed on to you that are not yours, that are contrary to your ability to make money. Now, if you follow me on this, this turns out to be very, 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 very powerful because I have people who come to my program either online and offline, and some of them already have, $200,000-$300,000, but their feeling is like, this is the last $200,000 I have. In fact, I had one couple come and they said, Tyrone, we're totally going to trust your strategies that you teach us, but you got to remember, this is our last $1 million. Can you believe that? This is our last $1 million. So, I like to think of it as, well, this is your first $1 million, right? But your wealth really is in your thinking. And that's what this first episode is really about. How do you address your thinking, your money beliefs, so that you attract more of it? And what I've learned is something that's very, very simple. It's really our consciousness and our beliefs that determine how much money we are actually making right now. In other words, the amount of money that you are making in your life right now at this moment is totally intimately connected to what you believe to be true. And when we grow up with our primary caregivers, although they love us, we inherit their money beliefs. And then we start to think there's just not enough in the world. So I want you to visualize for me for a moment a traffic cop, someone in the middle of the street waving their arms either away from them or towards them, and they're directing traffic. Now, we do the same thing with money. And by the way, just before I go further with this analogy, I want to tell you this. Everything that I'm going to express to you right now, you do not have to believe at all. Okay. It's just an idea that's very powerful. It's helped me. It helps my students make a gigantic shift so that we can turn to a modality like the stock market and just make thousands and tens of thousands of dollars a month, year after year after year, whether stocks go up, go down, and stays the same. So before we get into any specific trades, we really have to talk about our consciousness and our beliefs. And in our consciousness and our beliefs, we are like a traffic cop in the middle of the street directing traffic. And some of us, I am waving my arms towards me right now. Some of us are good at directing money towards us and wealth towards us and financial abundance towards us. And some of us are really good pushing money away from us. So imagine that traffic cop pushing traffic. Go past me, right? And so some of us direct a lot of money away from us, and we don't even realize that we are actually doing it. And one of the reasons that we're doing it is because we were programmed to believe that we couldn't easily make $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, or $50,000 a month. We were programmed to struggle, and this really does have to stop. So if you're this traffic cop, and if I'm this traffic cop, when we learn how to direct in our consciousness and our belief systems money towards us, then guess what? There's an endless supply of money. So where do we get these negative money beliefs that stop your millionaire mindset from flourishing? All right. Well, I am not here to bash anyone's religion. I'm more of a spiritual person myself. I tend to believe in universal principles than religious principles. So I'm going to ask you right now, not necessarily to believe everything that I'm going to share with you right now, but just to be open that maybe there's some nugget in here that can shift things for you so you don't have to struggle financially. Well, where do we get these negative beliefs? Because these negative beliefs apply to our money. Have you ever heard this one? If it sounds too good to be true, the answer is what? It probably is. Well, if we start to take that belief into our hearts and minds, we cut ourselves off from a lot of great things financially. And what happens is when we call those beliefs in the Wealthy Investor Program limited money beliefs. And limited money beliefs never help you with a millionaire mindset. So I'm from New York, right? In New York, everyone is really suspicious about everything because you don't survive in New York. You just can't go trusting everyone you meet on the subway or on the street. There has to be a certain amount of skepticism with almost everyone you meet because there's so many scams in New York, right? But skepticism ultimately is just fear, and fear costs you opportunity. It stops you from seeing things that are right in front of you because they sound too good to be true. You see, when everything sounds too good to be true, now you're a traffic cop directing money, wealth, financial abundance, great opportunities. You're directing them away from you if you really take that belief in. How about this one? This is a wonderful saying. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Which is probably one of the stupidest, dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. Why would you make a cake, right? Why would you take the ingredients, take it out of a bowl, put the flour in the bowl, the cake, the milk, the butter, turn the oven on, mix it all up, put it in a bowl, put the ingredients in the oven, watch it turn into a cake, let it rise, pull it out, put icing on it, and say, man, I'm sure not going to eat that. So cake, for those of you who don't know, was meant to be eaten. Right? There's enough food for everybody in the world, but were it not for politics and governments, people would not go to bed hungry. Cake is delicious. Cake is good. Well, if we exchange the cake for money, then money is good. If you had an endless supply of money because your money was constantly working for you in the stock market, what would happen? You'd live a better, bigger life. You'd have peace of mind and you'd be able to help more people. Right? So I believe that you found me on this podcast and you're listening because you were not meant to struggle financially in life. You were meant to do very, very well for yourself and be able to help other people. You'd be able to help your church, your community, family members, the charities of your choice. You'd be a much bigger person in this world because you would have money flow in your life. Are you starting to get it? But when we think these negative thoughts and ideas about money, it's hard for us to even get next to something like the stock market and the financial freedom that it can bring for you and that you are really meant to have in life. I really attract people who are ready to go to the next level with their finances, and we just use the stock market again as that modality. Why? Because today all you really need is an online brokerage account, and you can be participating in some of these companies and these extraordinary companies with this great innovation that are making a difference in our world. But you can't do it unless you address your money beliefs and what you were taught. Most of us get our money beliefs from our parents, our caretakers, our family of origin. And although they love us, they pass on their beliefs, which are usually small. And then what happens is when we inherit limited beliefs, guess what happens? We choose people who share the same beliefs. And people go, well, that can't be me about money. I actually went to college and got a degree. Yes, but if going to college and getting a degree was the answer, everyone who went to college would be a multi-millionaire. It has to do with their beliefs. What you need to do is focus in on your life and begin to examine what are your money beliefs that stop you from seeing an opportunity like the stock market. Some people use real estate, right, as a way of getting ahead financially and totally eliminating money, worry, stress, and strain. And when you learn how to trade in the stock market with a millionaire's mindset, you can create a lot of wealth because you won't be battling yourself inside. So some people think they'll just read a course and, that'll make everything better. But unless you clear out those negative money beliefs, it's going to be very difficult. If you really want to see what your money beliefs are, people are a reflection of who you are. When you meet someone and you say, God, they feel good to me, or I feel a kinship, or it just clicked right away, it's because they are a reflection of you and your beliefs and your ideas, right? So why do people generally get married? Because they marry the reflection of them. Now, if that person has small money beliefs and ideas about what is possible, or money is negative and bad and rich people are evil, chances are that you're going to attract that person in your life or be most attracted to that person that confirms that. But if we have limited money beliefs, you know what? We start to choose our friends that way. So if you believe you could only make $50,000, $60,000 a year, you will then choose people who share those beliefs. And if you don't believe that's true, I want you to stop for a moment and think about this. Think about the 5 people in your life who you are closest to, who you talk to every single day or with some regularity. The 5 people, you add up their income or what you think is their income, you divide it by 5, and that will be your income. So why would you stay in that range? And you would stay in that range because birds of a feather stick together. This is not about you being a bad person. It's just that we choose our comfort levels in life, and we choose the people that we are most comfortable around because they share the same beliefs. It doesn't mean that anybody is bad, right, or wrong. But if all of a sudden you have this desire to break through, to have financial freedom in your life and financial security, then you have to change your money beliefs, which means in turns, your friendships are going to change as your beliefs change. But you know the old saying, when one door closes, another one opens. So to elevate your consciousness and have the financial freedom that you deserve, you're going to have to change. And it all starts with your beliefs. And when you change your beliefs, then I can show you exactly step by step how the stock market works, where the money is being made. You don't have to take a lot of risk, but that shift in your consciousness is very powerful. You ever hear this one? Money is the root of all evil. And then someone said, I was doing a seminar one day and someone said, no, it's the love of money. Same thing. If you thought money was evil, would you want to have a lot of it? If you thought evil people were bad and wicked, would you want to have a lot of it? The answer is no, of course you wouldn't. Which is why most people aren't successful in the stock market and making their money work for them. Now, my journey from federally subsidized housing to living in Malibu has taught me a great many things because I've had to study rich people in order to become one of them. I've had to adopt their thoughts and examine their thoughts so that I can go and have a bigger, grander life. And because I've done that, I am able to help you. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Want to learn more about what stocks to trade and invest in today's market? Visit thewealthyinvestor.net. That's thewealthyinvestor.net. And sign up for Tyrone Jackson's free stock market success email list. Our next free stock trading teleseminar is only days away. Visit thewealthyinvestor.net today. Now back to the Wealthy Investor, Tyrone Jackson.
Now, right before the commercial break, we were talking about the power of your money beliefs, and now we're going to talk about negativity. There's a lot of negativity in the world, a lot of fear, and a lot of skepticism. And the number one thing that I get is people go, well, if this guy's making so much money in the stock market, why is he helping you? Well, why not help you? Is there something wrong with you? See, I believe my definition of success is that not only am I able to help my family, my children, but part of being successful is helping other people. So I spend a portion of my life helping other people in a month, right? I spend a few hours a month actually teaching and showing other people the opportunity, not because I am trying to scam you, but it is because I am trying to share with you what has made my life so great. And it's so interesting, Tony Robbins, one of my favorite people in the world, obviously does not have to do seminars anymore. Oprah doesn't have to do another television show. But why do they devote their life to helping people? Because they want to share the joy, the freedom, the keys, the happiness to success that they've discovered. So they're still off living their life. Believe me, Oprah still has all of her mansions. But if she takes a little time out of her week or her month to help other people, she's just sharing what she's learned. Well, I'm not saying that I'm Oprah by any stretch of the imagination or Tony Robbins, but I have a passion for sharing financial freedom and making things simple so that you can change your life. And when I share with you, the ripple effects are amazing because when I teach you how to trade in the stock market, all I ask is that you help someone else with the money that you make. You give it away to somebody else, some other charity, someone in your family, and you don't have to make a big hoopla about it. Just experience the joy of what it's like of having your cup financially runneth over enough so that you know that you can help someone. There's a feeling that produces that you cannot put a price tag on it. So this idea of a shift in thoughts, and not all rich people are bad. I just talked about Oprah. Doesn't she have a school where she helps girls in South Africa excel and see the world, right? Money in and of itself is not bad. If you get this today, this is really huge. It's what people do with money. See, when you have a lot of money, you can use it to hurt people or help people because all money does is bring out what is truly inside of you. So if you're one of those generous people by nature, you were probably generous even if you didn't have a lot of money. So when you have a lot of money, you're just going to play that out. But if you're one of these people who carry anger in their heart and mind and who are revengeful, guess what? You're going to use money to play that out. In other words, what I'm sharing with you today is money really is neutral. Its value really comes from what we do with money that really gives it its value. Okay. So if we can leave some of those negative thoughts and ideas out of what you're going to learn in this podcast and future podcasts, you stand a chance of being the person that you were meant to be financially. You've opened the door to being in a totally different financial place. And here's the part I love about it. Quickly. Right? It's not going to take hundreds of years to change your life financially because I'm going to teach you where the money is in the stock market. And we're going to follow the same pattern over and over and over and over. Because in my journey, one of the things that I have learned is that all wealth is taught, and wealth in the end is nothing but a series of positive habits. I'll say that again. In the end, wealth is nothing but a series of positive habits repeated over and over and over and over. In fact, the process of getting wealthy can sometimes be really, really boring. So you want it to be really, really boring in a short period of time and develop the expectations like millionaires have that money works for you. So let me make this point here because this is another point that's really, really important. Most people are too busy working to be wealthy. They're exchanging time for money instead of learning how to make money work for them. And the interesting thing about this whole process is you don't have to have a lot of money to be really, really successful in the stock market. But here's the key. You have to get started with something. You have to get started with something to make a difference. And the first thing you're going to start it with is a mindset and maybe $500. Some of you are going to start investing with $2,500. Some of you are going to start investing with $5,000. And then we're going to add money to our investments and we're going to pull money out of the stock market every single month doing 3 things: covered call writing, collecting dividends, and using margin. That is really good. So if you're really ready to catapult and move yourself forward and have a shift in consciousness and let go of negative thoughts, then we are on our way. So in future podcasts of Trading Stocks Made Easy, I'm going to take you through the strategies that we use, and some of my students, you'll be able to meet them up close and personal so that you can begin to make a change in your life. Thank you for listening. This is Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor, saying happy trading.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button and you'll automatically receive our next episode.